You know, what do you have to tell the world? How can you help some people? How can you be of service to some people? And come up with 10 things that you can do to help people. You don't have to overthink. It doesn't have to be long and drawn out. You can sit on your deck. I've made videos sitting on my deck because at that particular moment, that's where I wanted to be. It was a beautiful day. And I just wanted to talk about some of the things that was going on with me. I do videos called the Miss Boss Diary. And that pretty much talks about all the headaches that I'm having with running my business, you know. But people like that kind of stuff because they want to know that I'm a real person. I'm not just, you know, a business owner and all that, you know, I'm untouchable and I don't have problems. So I'll do the Miss Boss Diary, and it really talks about what kind of challenge I'm facing right now. The other thing, too, is pick one platform because it's so many. And when I tell you they are coming up with new ones every day, they're coming up with new ones every day. Everybody know that video and live video is the next thing popping right now. So you're going to see new platforms jumping off everywhere. Pick one that you're comfortable with and stick with that one for a while. Now, I'm seasoned. I've been out here for a minute, so I can be all over the place like that. But if you're just starting out, pick one. And there's so many. Just pick one and stick to that one for a while and put your videos out there. Share them with the world. Just make sure that your content is something that's going to help somebody, encourage, empower, enlighten, uplift somebody, educate somebody.
Awesome. So I am putting your last tip. So just to make sure that I may have actually sent this privately to somebody. Y'all excuse me. I'm trying to
multitask.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. So Audrey's tips again, guys, are first determine how you can help and connect with your target. And again, that goes back to what she mentioned before. She also talked about picking one platform, and you want to pick the platform that works for you. You want to pick the platform that you understand. You want to pick the platform that you can master, and then you want to drive all of your traffic there. One other tip as an extension to that, I think that you want to also consider a platform that you may be able to put on your website so that way you're only driving traffic to one place, and that's your website. And that's going to give you an opportunity to cross-sell, cross-promote some things that you may not have talked about in that particular content, but because they're going to your website, they may stumble across some things that may interest them as well. So always remember that it's always great. As many things as you can connect to your website. Same thing with your social media platforms. You want to make sure that people can connect with you from one central place. And we all suggest that central place should be your website. And the very, very last thing, make sure that you have great content. People are not going to want something that they don't want. I mean, at the end of the day, you have to make sure that you're getting in front of the people that want what you have to offer. I'm a firm believer that there's always somebody that wants something. You just have to make sure that you get your content to the right person that wants what you have. So thank you so much, Audrey. I really appreciate all of those marketing tools and tips. Now we're going to get to the nitty gritty though of business. And Saafir and I both kind of work in those fields that it's either going to make or break your business. It's either going to keep or take your freedom. Right, Saafir?
Right.
Now, what's interesting, guys, I will share this. Saafir is a very modest person, so I'm about to toot his horn because he won't do it. And I'm not just saying that he really is like that. But one thing that he didn't share in his introduction is that Saafir actually represents business owners, nonprofits, faith-based organizations, and he represents them in tax court. So for those of you that may not be familiar with tax court is worse than regular court because they not only can take your money and your livelihood, they can also take your freedom. So that's a little bit, a lot different because anyone that has had any tax troubles or anything like that, which Saafir is going to share in a minute how easy it is to get into that tax trouble, believe it or not. The IRS can attach a lien on every single thing you own, all the way down to your bank accounts that you use to pay your bills. They can literally put a freeze on it and take your money where your check goes into every month. So that's why we wanted to have this forum, and that's why I'm so glad that Saafir was available, because I know he has dealt specifically with these very issues. And unfortunately, they are very easy to get into, and they're easy to get into, unfortunately, because of ignorance. And that's not ignorance in a demeaning way. It's just because we don't know some of the things that we really need to do to protect ourselves. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Saafir so that he can share with us some of those pitfalls that he sees that entrepreneurs get into and how they can protect themselves from it.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest issue, especially with entrepreneurs and just business owners in general, I would have to say is payroll. Those are the biggest issue. Payroll, as well as trying to distinguish between contract employees versus regular employees. And a lot of times, we're guilty of it. If we don't want to deal with payroll taxes, we'll hire people on, and we'll give them a contract. And we'll say, okay, hey, you work for us, but at the end of the year, we're going to get you 1099. And so when you give that 1099, that tells the IRS that basically you was a self-employed person, or you was a subcontractor, or you're an independent contractor for this company. And at the end of the year, you're responsible for your own taxes. The problem with that is the Internal Revenue Code says that if you provide the place for that individual to come and work, if you set their hours, if you dictate when they take their lunch, they are your employee. Mm-hmm. And what tends to happen is, and this true story, one of my clients' funeral home, guys out there working in the yard. They got a little grave site and they got the funeral home. And IRS agent pulls up and see the guys out there working and asks a few questions. Hey, how you guys doing? Everybody speaking, hey, doing fine. So just general conversation, not knowing that, okay, this is an IRS agent. So they're not your friend. They're there to figure out how to cross you up and how to hang you up, basically. So the IRS agent asked the question. He said, hey, what time you guys get here? Oh, we had to be here at 8 o'clock sharp. Oh, okay. Good. What's good to eat around here? What time you guys go to lunch? Oh, we had to go to lunch between 12 and 2 o'clock, Oh, okay. So, and what time you guys leave? 5 o'clock. Because we don't stay past 5 o'clock. He don't like to pay overtime. Not knowing that this guy had been sending documents to the IRS stating that all of his people were independent contractors. Oof. So the IRS agent leaves, goes back to his office, and probably about, I want to say about a week later, the guy calls me and he's frantic. Oh, Saafir, man, I need to talk to you, man. These folks didn't assess me at $150,000 in penalties and interest and all of this. So I'm like, what's going on? And I said, I tell you, let's set up a meeting. You come to my office and we'll sit down and we'll talk. So he shows me the letter. And I said, they're going back on you for payroll taxes. And he said, well, I give everybody a 1099. I said, well, but they work for you. You actually provide them a place to come. You set their hours and, they work for you. You dictate their hours. He said, well, yeah, but, I give them a 1099 because I don't want to pay them payroll taxes. Okay. Well, he and I, we do the 2848, which is basically the power of attorney. I called the agent, find out what's going on. Agent states to me, Mr. Malik, when I was up there, I asked the guys these questions, and according to the rules in the IRS code, they are employees. So we went back 5 years and assessed penalties and interest against this guy. Mm-hmm. And if he don't pay our money, we will actually come and put the locks on the door. Mm-hmm. Sadly, a lot of times when you're dealing with certain people, they don't believe that. So I tell the guy, I say, hey, we need to go ahead and get this matter straight, and, whatever we need to do, we need to go ahead and do it. I'm not going to worry about it. That's the worst thing you can do. So he goes and he asks one of his friends, who's another funeral director, and the guy said, man, they just tried to scare you with that. Don't pay no folks no attention. Well, lo and behold, his wife is at the grocery store buying groceries, and the card got declined. And they swiped it again. Card got declined again. They go to the bank. IRS took $122,000 out of their account. They left him with $25. That's just to keep the account open. Now he wants to talk to Saafir. Man, you need to get my money back. I got bills, I got this, I got that. So let's set up a meeting with the agent. You're not going to get your money back now. I mean, it is what it is. You're not going to get your money back. And the agent says, well, you know, we talked to you, we tried to warn you, you know, and you got this money sitting in an account and you owe us. So at the end of the day, those funds, he lost those funds, but what I was able to do for him, I told the agent, I said, I tell you what, we would get him back in compliance. I will make sure that everyone is on payroll. I will file the proper payroll forms for him, going back all the years that you guys assess him. And a lot of times you can make the argument with the IRS, but you can only do it one time. And my argument was the professional competency argument. I said, this guy's in the funeral business. He doesn't really know about payroll. He don't know about taxation. He don't know about these issues. Agent said, I tell you what, if you go back and redo the returns or whatever that you come up with, that's what we'll go with. So instead of him owing the 150, I got it down to about 70,000, and I got the penalties abated because it was a first-time offenders act, kind of like on the legal side, you know, it was more like a first-time act. And so, but he had to sign a contract stating that he would have a professional, competent accountant to be able to walk him through and navigate him through this situation. And we put him on a payment plan. I said, we're going to put you on the payment plan. I said, but after a year, what I'm going to do, I'm going to tell them that you are having hardship making these payments because you can't operate your business. But we need to make these payments for 1 year solid. At the end of the year, we put him in a non-collectible status. IRS cannot touch him. So that's part of the problem, is that we do not want to, as far as with payroll, if you have people that work for you and they're coming to your place of business, they need to be on payroll. You need to file quarterly payroll taxes. If you're dictating their hours to them, then they are your employees. They're not, 1099 people. If you have people that you're contracting services with, then you do need to do a contract with them for compliance reasons, as well as do a W-7 form with them stating that they are 1099 subcontractors, and they will be responsible for their own taxes. You take that with your contract as well as the W-7, and you have that in your file. So if an IRS agent shows up and questions you, if you show that to them, there's nothing really that they can say. Like I said, the biggest issue, honestly, I see with us is just payroll taxes. That gets more black businesses, or just businesses in general, in a lot of trouble with the IRS. And if you don't know how to do it, I recommend you find somebody that knows how to do them, someone that can navigate you through that process. Taxation as well as improper business structure hurts us.
Saafir.
Yes, ma'am.
Before you move on, we have a question, and the person wants to know, can you give some tips for those of us who are contracting to keep us out of trouble? And I know that's kind of both me and you, but I think it's more towards, because you just mentioned about having a contract in place as well as some of these IRS required forms.
Yes.
A lot of this honestly is paperwork and bookkeeping, like you said.
Exactly.
But, specifically, talk about, just from your perspective, some things that some of our entrepreneurs can put within their contract specifically that you believe will help them and protect them in this instance.
I mean, the main thing would be the language. And you may want to interject with me, I want to do a little crazy sometimes, but primarily the language. And it can be something as basically as, I, Jane Doe, agreed to contract my services to XYZ company. XYZ company is going to pay me, monthly X amount of dollars. I understand that I will be responsible for my own taxes, my own insurance, my own unemployment insurance, whatever. I would be solely responsible for that. XYZ company is just paying me for my services. You do that, and then, like I said, you have a W-7 form with your tax ID number or either your Social Security number.